Hi, this is Tim back with another video. Thought I would do another camera related video. This is Micro Four Thirds, which is the camera system I use. But it's also related, this one, to the previous system, 4/3, and some of the lenses I recommend, which you can use on the Micro Four Thirds system. And this is for any Micro Four Thirds camera. So some of them focus better than others. Now, this lens here is actually a Micro Four Thirds lens, 12 to 200. I've just got it for comparison for the size because it's very similar in size and not that too dissimilar in weight to the two lenses I'm going to recommend that you pick up for 4/3 if you're interested in. Both of them will focus okay, one better than the other. So we're going to kick off with the first recommendation. And as you can see, if I compare it in size, if you kind of go back to back, it's actually pretty similar in size, but slightly heavier. It's the 8mm 3.5 lens. And I got this one off of eBay, which I recommend checking out, or Camera Forum, somewhere like that. This one was in really good condition, and I'm going to try and be careful when I take. You can see it's in really good condition. It's 8mm, so it's a fisheye lens, so it curves at the edges, but it is autofocus, as I've mentioned, and you can use it with an adapter, which I'll show you, and it covers pretty much 180 degrees, although you will get the curved edges. It's f3.5, so it's not that fast, but £125 I paid for it. Might have paid £5 to £7 postage on top, but for a really good condition, that's actually an amazing price. And I've picked up one previously for even less than that, but it was in nowhere near as good condition as this. So £125 is a really good price. And because it's a fisheye, you don't really need to have fast focusing, because generally, I'll just show you the other side. This is where you'll mount it to your adapter. Generally, you don't need fast focusing for a fisheye because you're going to be lining up sort of wide angle. You can do close up. It'll actually focus really close. In fact, you can I think you can pretty much focus touching the lens. And you're going to be generally doing wider shots, of course, for maybe landscape, but it could be anything. And the equivalent in Micro Four Thirds, you can get a f3.5 Panasonic, which is about £500–700, maybe £600, something like that, new, 300 to 400, second hand. It's actually a really nice looking and feeling lens, and yeah, so much cheaper. The faster Olympus version, by the way, is about £1,000. It is f1.8. So this is the adapter I recommend. And that's the Panasonic DMC MA1. So this is a 4/3 to Micro Four Thirds adapter, and it literally just attaches to the 4/3 lens. I'm not going to bother taking it off the second lens I'm going to show you and put it on this one. There's no point because I can show it to you on this one. But yeah, that's the adapter I recommend to use, and it focuses really pretty well. Quite slow on EM10 Mark II and some of the more sort of basic cameras, so the EP2, the older ones, EP2, EP3, Olympus, some of the Panasonic G series, G3, 5, 7s, pretty slow. Also on the GH series, it's pretty slow. But on the Olympus EM1, this one actually focuses really fast. But you would need the Olympus EM1 series, or maybe the EM5 Mark III, and it will actually focus really quickly on that as well. This one doesn't have contrast autofocusing. I'm going to put this one out of the way and carefully put the lid on. It is pretty susceptible, of course, with that curved lens to knocks and that, so it's good to have a nice solid front cap for it. The second lens I'm going to recommend is this one, and that is the Olympus, whoops, I'm going to take that off, 14 to 54, and this is the Mark II. the reason I recommend this is because it's more suitable for any Olympus or Panasonic older model, as well as the EM1 range and the EM5 Mark III, the latest ones. It's got contrast, it's compatible with contrast autofocusing, so it actually focuses quite a bit faster than the 8mm I just showed you. It's not as fast as a micro four thirds lens, but it's definitely acceptable. It will only work in single autofocus on my Mark II, and again, the sort of more basic models, Panasonic and Olympus, it will only work in single autofocus or manual focus. But again, on the EM1 Mark 1, 2 and 3, the EM1X and the EM5 Mark III, maybe some of the high-end Panasonic ones, it will work in continuous autofocus and much quicker than it does work on the EM10 Mark II. But it does actually focus pretty fast on this one. I'll do a demo in another video and compare it maybe to the 12-200. But once again, if you ignore the adapter, it's pretty similar in size to a 12-200, so it's not too big to handle. It's a little bit lighter, and it's very easy to connect up. And like I said, even on the EM10 Mark II and the more basic models, it does focus pretty fast because it has got contrast autofocus. And both these lenses are actually very, very good quality and very sharp, and I recommend both of them. And this one, by the way, I think I paid £115, 115, so maybe 130 or so dollars, which is actually again a really good price. I recommend getting the Mark II definitely over the Mark I if you're going to use it on micro four thirds, because of the speed of autofocusing. The Mark I is not compatible with contrast autofocus detection, so it is a lot slower. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds to focus. This is about well under maybe half a second or less in good light, so fairly instantaneous. Sometimes in low light it can take a second or more, it just depends on the circumstances, but it's much better, like I said, than the Mark I. I would definitely recommend the Mark II. Both sharp lenses, both very reasonable on the second-hand market, which is why I recommend them. And these are the two I would recommend for any Olympus or Panasonic micro four thirds camera, because on this one, the super wide 8mm, you don't really need fast focusing, so you can take your time because you're going to be doing that for those super wide shots. And with the contrast autofocus, it does work a lot better on the basic models. So those are two I recommend, and hopefully you'll be able to pick them up similar sort of prices to me. You may struggle a little bit because these are obviously getting sort of more difficult to pick up. There's not so many coming up for sale. Oh, by the way, the Panasonic adapter I recommend, it's really solidly built, and again, I think I paid about £55, really good deal on eBay. Again, usually they go for about 100. You can get no-name ones or brands like Viltrox, which are okay. They're about £40. But if you can get it, I would pick up the Panasonic. The Olympus one is really good as well, but it's very expensive. MMF. There's 3 versions. The third one is, I think it's got a water resistance, so it's got a little protective barrier, if you like. But that goes for about £150-200. So yeah, lots of money. So that's it for my recommendations for micro four thirds, any camera. These two lenses for the 4/3 system with the adapter, which you can pick up. Panasonic one comes up now and again on eBay. You might find it elsewhere as well. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.